Yes, guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson Football Channel for your second video of the day. There have been some reports from some Brazilian journalists that Chelsea Football Club are working on a deal to sign Joao Pedro from Brighton for about £50 million. We heard from various journalists in the past week or so that Joao Pedro wanted to leave Brighton during this summer window. And in this video today, I'm going to talk about Joao Pedro because if Joao Pedro is coming in as the new striker at Chelsea Football Club, then we've completely missed the boat. We've got the wrong idea. And I think that is a dreadful decision. If Joao Pedro is coming in because we're losing Nkunku and we're losing Felix, then maybe I could be interested in this one. Joao Pedro, as you can see here, right? This is the heat map for Joao Pedro this season in the Premier League. You can see predominantly we're not talking about around the penalty area, although there is some red marks there, but we're talking about the left wing. We're talking about the left side half spaces, which is, in my opinion, very similar to the heat map here of Joao Felix, although obviously not as much heat there because he's not played that much football. And Christopher Nkunku, left wing, left half spaces. Basically, a very similar player to two players that we've spent money on that we shouldn't have, that we're trying to get rid of from Chelsea Football Club this summer. Joao Pedro's numbers are actually very good. If we take a look at them here, Premier League, 27 games, 10 goals scored. In terms of team play, 6 assists as well, 7 in all competitions this season. It's not bad numbers. If we look at it per 90 minutes, he scores 0.5 goals per 90, which is decent. Joao Pedro, I do believe, is a player that will get a big move to a big club, and I think he will thrive. I think he will do well. My concern here is that at Chelsea Football Club, do we necessarily have a need for another player like Joao Felix, who I'm not saying they're exactly the same, but you can see literally the proof is right here that they play in very similar areas of the pitch. Christopher Nkunku, exactly the same. And if we bring up Joao Pedro again, that isn't necessarily a huge red mark inside the penalty area, which in my opinion, as I say every single day, in every single video, Chelsea are going to need to buy themselves a striker this summer who plays as a target man in the middle of the field. Joao Pedro is a really exciting player. I think he links up incredibly well with other players, and I think this would be a good sign-in if he is coming in as somebody that can play so that Palmer can be rested, and as somebody that could potentially be a winger option for Chelsea on the left. If we're looking at Esteval, and I made a video earlier today where I broke down his recent performance when he was playing on the left side of a front two with Vitor Roque at Palmeiras. So I think Joao Pedro could do that kind of job. And at the moment, I'm like, well, we have spent a lot of time, Chelsea Football Club, watching us this season, looking at the kind of profile of player that we need. And is Joao Pedro that? I really hope that this isn't the striker signing, because I think if it is, I can see us once again being in the same boat and same position that we have been in for so long. If we take a look at some more of Joao Pedro's season, you can see here striker, attacking midfielder are the positions, strengths, penalty taking. Also, guys, he scored 10 goals this season. 5 of them have been penalties, and we already have a pretty well-established penalty taker at Chelsea Football Club, don't we? In Cole Palmer. Positioning, very good. High pressing. Ball control is a weakness. Not going to read into that too much, but he's had a decent season. 1 injury in there. Hypothetically, again, though, I also want to compare him to Nicholas Jackson, just in case this is Chelsea's answer to the new striker for next season, the Club World Cup and all of that stuff, okay? This is Nicholas Jackson's heat map this season. You can see a bit more inside the penalty area because he's been playing through the middle for Chelsea, but also he does a lot of work in the build-up phase as well. Let me remind you of Nicholas Jackson's stats this season. 10 goals from an XG of 12.34, scoring every 224 minutes, big chances missed 19, goal conversion rate of 13%. If we now compare that to Joao Pedro, he's outperforming his XG, which is a positive sign, scoring more frequently than Nicholas Jackson in terms of the minutes per goal that he scores. 1.7 shots per game, 7 big chances missed, and a 21% goal conversion rate is actually the highest of all of the strikers that we've spoken about this week. That's higher than Ekitike, higher than Victor Osimhen, higher than Jackson, and higher than any of the other strikers we're talking about at Chelsea. Jackson, though, does get 2.5 shots off per game compared to Joao Pedro's 1.7. But I think at Chelsea, he'd be in more shooting positions. The more we're going into this video, I'm thinking like, off the left, I think Pedro could be quite good as a backup for Palmer. This could work. Brighton. We go into Brighton again. And I think Joao Pedro is a Champions League quality player. And obviously Chelsea want to get business done before the Club World Cup so that we can go to that competition with the best possible chance, the strongest possible squad. Because as Maresca has said in his press conference, not only is there not really a gap between this Premier League game against Forest and the final against Betis, but then in 2 weeks' time, Chelsea are going to be out in America, playing in the Club World Cup, looking to go as far as we possibly can in the Club World Cup, and rightly so. We're going to be looking to try and get business done as soon as possible with that Club World Cup in mind. I'm not going to sit here and say that he's a bad player, because he isn't. I think Joao Pedro is a really good footballer. I think he's a very talented player. 16 goal contributions in 27 games in the Premier League this season is very good. But is he an out-and-out striker? Absolutely not. I don't think so. I think he wants to be an out-and-out striker, but more often than not recently, Danny Welbeck's been getting minutes. Jorginho Ruter getting minutes for Brighton over Joao Pedro. He's 23 years old, which fits the model of what Chelsea and the ownership want to go for. He's Brazilian. He's over 6 foot tall. Yes, Joao Pedro is going to improve. Yes, I think in the right system, he could absolutely thrive. And he's already thriving. He's a very, very good footballer. But is this the right player that Chelsea need? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I think if this is to replace Nkunku and Felix, because you've got to remember, guys, we can't just get rid of all of these players and not sign anybody to replace them. Yes, we've got Esteval coming in. Is he going to be immediately ready to be playing Premier League football and hopefully Champions League football every week? I don't think we can rely on an 18-year-old who doesn't speak the language yet to be that guy. I think he's going to do well. I think he's going to be incredible. I think he's a world beater. But are Chelsea able to rely on that? I'm not entirely sure. Are we convinced by the wingers that we've got at the club right now? No. Joao Pedro, I think he's a better footballer in the Premier League than Joao Felix and Christopher Nkunku. So, to clarify everything here, I think this will be a good sign-in, but only on the premise that it's Pedro and another striker. And that specifically is the bit that is bugging me the most right now, because we've spent so much money that isn't always going to be there. Todd Bowley earlier this week, you remember, we saw the interview, we broke it down here on GBFC. He was talking about we've done most of our investing, which is why I'm so nervous that this might actually be the striker, because if you're going to spend 50 odd million on a player that will probably be on the bench, oh guys, make this make sense for me. We've also got some more news here. This is the latest from Fabrizio Romano on Liam Delap. Ipswich manager McKenna confirms Liam Delap is expected to leave. Yes, he's looking at his options for next year. We support him with that. So Dilap is 100% leaving Ipswich. That was never up for debate. Dilap has already met with Chelsea and Man United, and he's in the list of several clubs this summer. Manchester United today have also announced that they're going to be cutting even more jobs at the club to save costs. So if you're Liam Delap, right, and you've got any integrity about your future whatsoever, I think the days where Manchester United, because they're Manchester United, I genuinely think those days are over. So if that's the case, right, I can see where this is going here. It's going to be Joao Pedro and Liam Delap coming through the door this summer at Chelsea, isn't it? And if that is the case, for me, this is the wrong options. It should have been Dilap and Victor Osimhen, a striker that is elite, that goes straight into the starting 11. And then if Jackson goes, Jackson goes. Obviously, I want Jackson to stay. I think he can become an even better striker than he's been. But clearly, he can't lead the line for Chelsea Football Club yet. In terms of guaranteed 20-plus goals a season, he's not that guy. He just isn't. Is Liam Delap that? I don't think so either. Is Joao Pedro that? No. You see, I think I'm seeing what's going to happen here, guys, and I'm not happy with it. I'm not happy with it. I don't think Chelsea again need two players that are going to need time to develop and grow. It's just some people will be happy with this too. And fair enough. Have your thoughts, have your opinions, but for me, it should be an elite striker. They're available. They're there. They are there. Osimhen is there. Gyökeres, like, he's there. They're literally there. Why aren't we doing it? Anyway, I've spoken about strikers for too long today. Some good news to end this video. I want to finish here by talking about Trevor Chalobah, because Thomas Tuchel, you guys remember, Chelsea's Champions League winning gaffer, one of the best managers that we have ever seen at this football club. He absolutely loved Trevor Chalobah, and he's called him up for the England squad, this time for his first ever England call-up. And look, I think Trevor Chalobah might be one of the most underappreciated players in the Premier League. I've had messages from like mates of mine being like, why has Chalobah been called up for the England squad? I'm like, this is the thing about Trevor Chalobah. He's good, and he goes under the radar as being consistently good because he's not a big name, because Chelsea try and sell him all the time, because Chelsea try and send him on loan to Crystal Palace. Trevor Chalobah, in my opinion, deserves so much more respect than he gets. I think it's criminal the way that we treated him last summer, not even taking him on the pre-season tour, not even giving Maresca a chance to look at him, and then the audacity to call him back in January when we realised that we'd spent ridiculous money on bad defenders and he's better than them all. Like, come on. Come on, seriously. We need to look and think long and hard. I mean, or just watch, look at the internet, mate. Honestly, and this is the hard thing. I genuinely think there are better takes out there from Chelsea fans, not just me. I think so many people that post tweets, that make YouTube videos, we can all see the calibre of footballer that Chelsea need. We're not just bitching and complaining and saying we're rubbish. No, we're not bad at all. We're one game away from the Champions League. But for 37 matches this season, it's become clear as day what this club needs. We need a few leaders. We need to respect the players like Trevor Chalobah that should have been here from the start of the flipping season. We need an elite striker. I think it's going to be Dilap and Pedro. Obviously, I want Osimhen. I want to make that clear again. But I think it's going to be Dilap and Pedro. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. The next video you see on this channel is going to be the Nottingham Forest preview. I'm nervous.